Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. It's about 12:03. We will get started in about 2 more minutes. We're going to allow a couple more people to join us. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. This is one of our many Wednesday webinars that we'll hold where we go over different aspects of the Birmingham Land Bank programming. Today, we're going to go through and talk about our application process. All right, good afternoon. I'm Eric Fancher. I serve as administrator for the Birmingham Land Bank Authority. I'm going to do a quick overview of our application process over the Land Bank Authority, and we'll actually I'll go through on our website and click through our application and just show you just some ins and outs of the process to select a property and choose a program and ultimately submit an application. But I wanted to go ahead and give you a quick overview of the Birmingham Land Bank Authority. Birmingham Land Bank Authority takes tax delinquent properties, and in our case, properties that have been eligible for our programming are ones that have been in the state's inventory for 5 years or more. We take the tax deed to those properties, clear the titles to them. We allow eligible parties to purchase those properties. We put development agreements in place, and we convey the properties to those eligible users so that they can take control of their neighborhoods. If it's an abandoned lot or a dilapidated structure, we clear liens and encumbrances off of these properties and allow the end users to make the financial investment into the properties just solely into improving the properties, not just acquisition. Our goal is to interrupt the passive speculative market that is associated with tax delinquent properties, which has been a detriment to our 99 neighborhoods. You may drive around many neighborhoods, see abandoned structures or overgrown lots and think that they are tax delinquent. A number of individuals, a number of institutions routinely purchase tax liens and tax deeds with the intent to flip them to other parties at a later date, but not really with the intent to improve the neighborhood. So we try to interrupt that process and put these properties in the hands of people that ultimately want to improve the properties in a shorter time period than waiting for someone else to come along and do the work. We work with citizens, nonprofits, businesses, city departments, and other agencies to ultimately remove blight, increase property values, ultimately strengthen our neighborhood, these properties into productive use. We currently have 3 programs: our lot lease program, our quiet title program, and our immediate acquisition program. We have some misconceptions. People, obviously call us each week and think that we're able to give away property for free or if you've been taking care of a property, we're all of a sudden able to wave a magic wand and convey property to you for free. And the fact is that there are costs associated with obtaining the tax deed and clearing title to each of these properties. We do as best as we can to minimize those costs and pass those savings along to you, because we recognize, that many of our areas where there's been disinvestment, there, not that many comps that allow for, lending that may provide individuals the amount of money that they may need to bring a property back up to code or make it habitable. So we do our job to cut those acquisition costs to make your project as financially feasible as possible. This is a great program if I want to buy and hold. We hear that a lot. No, that's if that is your plan, we ask that you keep everything moving in another direction. This program is for individuals that ultimately want to buy a property from us and then turn that property into an asset for their neighborhood or community. It's not a program where you can just purchase the property, sit on it, and then just flip it without investing in it. The parcels that are eligible for our program do not come off of a special list. These properties are ones that have been tax delinquent for at least 5 years or more. So parties eligible to acquire property through the land bank are individuals, governmental entities, nonprofit and for-profit corporations. They're all eligible to acquire property through the Land Bank Authority. There are some restrictions. If you own tax delinquent property or have previously lost property to tax foreclosure, that decreases the likelihood of your being approved for our programming. We also ask if you've previously entered into contract with the Land Bank Authority. We ask that you, if you've defaulted on one of those agreements, that decreases the likelihood of your being approved for an additional application. When someone engages the land bank and we go and take a property through the process, the authority expends money and we rely on this partnership with the end user with the hopes that they will take title to the property and make that property an asset. So if we have someone that's habitually engaging us and entering in the contract and then letting the contract fall through, then that minimizes the likelihood and desire of staff and the board to continue to enter into contracts. We also ask that if you are a property owner, that you don't have any state or local violations on your property, no code violations, no health violations, no drug nuisance violations. And so we reserve the right to check all of those issues out during the application process and during the your contractual period with the City of Birmingham Land Bank Authority. As I mentioned before, properties within the city limits of Birmingham are eligible for the Land Bank Authority programming. And once we receive the tax deed, we can file that quiet title action, which clears the title to the property and allows us to convey it to you so that you can put it back into productive use. So every property that we acquire that you may see in our name, if you're looking at properties, all of those properties may not be available for application immediately. A number of properties that we do acquire, we do so under our what we call our strategic acquisition program. And in that program, we are looking to develop large-scale housing development or commercial development, and we're trying to work with the neighborhoods in which these properties sit, as well as our City of Birmingham Community Development and Planning departments to make sure that the plans for those parcels and the ultimate uses of those parcels align with our city's framework plans. So in order to ultimately obtain property from the Land Bank Authority, you must submit an application online through our website located at birminghamlandbank.org. We receive a number of calls from people who have submitted applications with the State Department of Revenue or many other websites, and they get confused and think that they have applied with us. The only way you can apply for land bank programming is if you go through the land bank's application process on our website, birminghamlandbank.org. So to apply for a land bank property, we first ask that you visit our website, birminghamlandbank.org, and you read the supplemental information on how to apply, which is located on the Apply tab on our website. Once you read that information, there'll be a button that will say Apply. Once you've gone through all of that information, you'll hit that application button, and that will take you through our to our online application portal. And if you can't find a property on our map, all you need to do is click the button that says, if you can't find the property, contact us. And you'll just need to provide us with the address and parcel number so that we can verify its eligibility. And if it is eligible and eligible for application, we'll make it available on our website. So on our front page of our application portal, we do have parcels that have already had their titles cleared, and they're available for immediate acquisition. That program, the immediate acquisition program, is similar to the quiet title program, except for that we've already cleared title to the property. So in that case, you would submit an application, and upon approval of your application and completion of your inspection period, we will schedule a closing with you, and then you will have to commence your plan and complete your project. The quiet title process, the quiet title program, is similar, but you have to wait during that period after you're approved for us to clear title in the court system. And that time period varies, but it's generally taking our attorneys 4 to 5 months to go through that legal process. And you can also count on an additional 2 months for application and approval on the front end. And, we'll go through that later on in the presentation. But so if you go to our website application portal, you can see the immediate acquisition properties on the front page. You can also search for a property in our search bar. You can search by parcel number, street, city, zip code, or any other attributes to the property. If a property doesn't stick out to you immediately, you can look at the map by clicking View All Properties. So if you, for example, if you found a property that was listed under immediate acquisition, you could click View Details, and you would see information on the property, such as the parcel number, the address, the property status, which notes that it's immediate acquisition for sale. But also you can see the minimum bid amount. The minimum bid for the majority of our properties is going to be $5,000. Where we will command a higher amount, that number will be listed in the minimum bid category. And so once you identify a property that you like, so in this slide, we see 1024 Avenue S, you'll click the Apply button, and that will take you to our application. But before you can apply, you'll have to first create an account. And so after you click that Apply button, the website will ask you to log in. You'll first have to register for a new account. You'll fill in all the requested information, and then we'll go through the application process. So I'm going to switch gears really quick, and we're going to actually go through an actual application. So give me 1 second to switch over. Okay, so now I am on the application portal for our website. But before we even get that far, let me back up. So when you go to birminghamlandbank.org, you get to the website, you'll see we have news and announcements and other information about our programming. But we have a tab that says apply. You first click that tab. And just as I mentioned in the other slides, you read through the information on, number one, on how to apply. You can look at applicant eligibility, parcel eligibility, program information, the application process and timeline. All of this information is contained on our website. So after you review all of that information, you're now free to hit our apply button, which will take you to our website. So I don't have a particular address in mind, so I'm going to click view all properties. And this will take you to a map that shows two sets of parcels. The first set of parcels, which will be outlined in red, are the ones that are immediate acquisition and for sale. Those are parcels that the land bank has already cleared title to and that we are putting up for sale. The remaining parcels are parcels that are eligible for BLBA programming. And those parcels are parcels that are eligible for our quiet title program and our lot lease program. So we will go in and just choose an eligible property. And let's see, we'll choose this parcel that is on 9th Court West. So once you identify the parcel that you are interested in, you can click view full details, and it will take you to this page. Our data will populate and show you the zoning information, the council district, the community, the neighborhood, and that information. We don't have pictures to all of the properties, but you, in your application, we do request that you go out and visit the property to make sure that it is for certain the property that you are interested in applying for. And when you do that, you'll take a picture and submit that in the application. So once you decide this is the property you like to apply for, you choose which application you'd like to complete. So the adopt a lot and side lot application is the application you would use if you are a citizen that owns and occupies a property adjacent to this property or in the same neighborhood. And that means if you are, if you live adjacent to this property and you'd like to extend your yard, or if you are in the process of trying to start a community garden or any other just beautification efforts in your neighborhood, this is a program you could use to start out with. The program fee is $50 per parcel, and in this program, you will just agree to maintain and use the property for a period of 2 years. You can't, during that 2-year period, you cannot put any permanent structures on the property or anything that is outside of zoning and our planning, engineering, and permits requirements. At any time during that period, though, you can elect to go through our quiet title program. And that is the program in which we will use to actually take the parcel through court, file a quiet title action, which we will clear all the liens, assessments, and other claims of right to that property off. And ultimately, we will have full ownership of that property. And following the end of that court action, we will convey that ownership interest to you so that you can own that property and no one can come back and redeem it or make a claim that they own that property, giving you the ability to complete whatever project that you need and desire on that property, including building houses, even if it's building an additional fence, combining the property with your property. The sky is the limit as long as it falls under our zoning and city code guidelines. So for this example, I'm going to go and choose the Quiet Title Program application. It's a little more intricate. So once you click that, we'll go through the application, and we have some additional information above the application that we ask you to read, and you agree that you read by once you submit your application. So after you've created an account, that information is automatically populated under application information. So once you get down to the additional applicant information and eligibility, we start to ask for additional information. And a lot of this is self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go through it all, because I believe every one of you can grasp this information. And if you do have any questions during this process, you can always submit your inquiry on our Contact Us page on the website. We do ask information about whether or not you have a status as a City of Birmingham employee, or if you have any family or business partners that work for the City of Birmingham. We want to minimize any issues that may arise from conflicts or any of those matters. So we do ask that you are truthful in completing this phase in every part of the application. We ask you, what other names or organizations that you are inquiring about land bank properties under, and we ask just for all the information about your organization, names of all directors and investors, so that we can make sure that everything is satisfactory as we as it relates to conflicts and other issues that may arise. Under our applicant eligibility, we also ask if you own any properties that have been foreclosed on for delinquent property taxes. We ask if you've been cited for zoning or code violations. We ask if your properties have ever, been subject to any other violations related to code or health violations. Again, we also ask if you've ever defaulted or failed to perform in an agreement with the Land Bank Authority. And a big question that we ask, are you the former owner of the property or related to the former owner? Our state enabling legislation forbids us from selling the property to the prior owner of the property or the family members of the property. The only way that you can obtain ownership of the property from us in that case is if you redeem prior to the end of the quiet title action. And in that case, you'll be responsible for all back taxes, interest, fees, and other assessments that may be attached to the property. We also ask each individual to list all the properties that they control in this and own in the City of Birmingham. You can upload a separate, Word document or PDF document with that information. We also ask for pictures of each of those properties. All of this is in place to make sure that we are not conveying additional properties to individuals that own a number of already dilapidated structures or that own properties that already present problems in their neighborhoods. Once you visit the property, we ask that you take a picture, an actual picture with your phone, and we ask that you upload that picture to this application. We also ask to respond truthfully and let us know if someone is occupying or maintaining the property. This will prompt us to do a further investigation before proceeding. Our goal at the Land Bank is not to evict individuals, especially individuals that could have actually applied for and received a exemption from property taxes. So the goal is just to continue and take properties that are dilapidated and vacant and bring those back into productive use. If you do see someone living in the property, please let us know as soon as possible. Sometimes it may be squatters or vagrants, and we'll look to see if we can still, obtain the property and clean up that issue too. But especially if you see someone that's well maintaining a property and living in the property, we want to know so that we can, get them to the right place to remedy their situation. For our quiet title and lot lease programs, we also ask that you verify that the property is tax delinquent and has been in the state's inventory for 5 years or more. We have a link above this question that shows you how to do that. So our next section goes through your plans for the property. And as you can see, there are several uses outlined, including owner occupancy, nonprofit use, resale to an owner occupant, move in a family member, or keep for rental income. And so what you'll do is you'll select, one of those choices or other if that choice isn't listed. And then further down in the application, you can fill in the information on what exactly you mean by other. When looking at your property, we also ask that you verify that your planned use is proper for what the property is currently zoned for. If not, we want you to tell us in your application what steps you'll have to take to make sure that your planned use will be proper under the zoning guidelines. And we have a link to our planning, engineering, and permits website that outlines, different individuals that you can contact to get answers to your questions. So our next section is our cost estimate section. In that section, we just ask you to consider different things that you must take into account when setting out to rehab a structure or build a new structure. Many of our applicants in previous years have not considered all of this. We've received applications that just said needs paint and the back of the house may be missing or something like that. So we want each of our applicants to visit the site from the front right of way, take pictures from the back right of way if possible, if there's an alley, get a good view. But we want you in this section to just use your best efforts to make an estimate. We know you can't get in the property until we have a tax deed or ownership, but we just want to make sure that you have at least considered these cost areas and the amount of money it may take to invest in each of these areas: demolition, framing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, roofing, other exterior costs, other interior finishing. We want you just to consider all of that and maybe, talk to a contractor friend, or if you're really serious at this point, engage a contractor to just give you some numbers to really put a good faith effort into trying to wrap your head around the total anticipated estimated cost to complete a project that you are setting out to work on. We also ask that you provide us with your estimated project completion time from the date of closing. So we have 180 days, 365 days, and longer than that. Once your application is approved, we'll ask you to fill out supplemental information regarding this plan, including contractor information. We'll ask you to fill out a Gantt chart that outlines different phases of your project, so the land bank can fully be certain that you're serious about your project. And this will also protect you in the long run, so that you'll be able to say by contract, this is what I said I was going to do at this point, and at this point, and at this point. And so it protects both of us. In the event that something does go wrong, and things do go wrong, we recognize that. we just want you to keep the lines of communication open. So if you have issues with zoning or pulling a permit on for a particular trade and it causes a delay, or weather hits, or anything that may pop up, we just ask that you contact us during this process and make us aware so that we know that you are still working towards finishing and completing your project. If you have completed projects in the past, we ask that you upload a list of those prior experiences to accompany your application. In the next section, we request your purchase offer amount. Our base fee is at $5,000 plus closing costs. In the event that the property has been identified as a higher value property or one that can command more value, we will notate that in the minimum bid column at the top of the application, and that will be your base bid. But for everything else, that $5,000 is your base fee. We ask you to put your anticipated renovation cost and combine those two numbers together. That would be your total investment, anticipated investment in the property. As we get to the next section, we ask, how do you plan to fund the project? Is this going to be cash, credit card, line of credit, mortgage product? We just ask that you, again, consider that information on how you will fund the project. Again, when we get later on in the contract process and prior to closing, we will ask for additional information on how you will fund that project. If you are able to go ahead and secure rough drawings or renderings, we say go ahead and upload those to our application. But we really would just like for you to provide a detailed summary, again, kind of touching on the points that we went over earlier in the application on the fact that you've considered the different aspects of renovation, including framing, electrical, plumbing, roofing, and so on. We also ask that you, just outline that and go through your, prior experiences with rehabbing homes or new construction or maintaining properties or gardening, whatever your planned use is. We just ask that you upload additional information on that to provide us with some background. Once you complete all of that information, we ask that you submit the application by providing your e-signature, and you certify that all the information above is true and accurate, and that you've read and agreed to all the information in this application. So once that application is submitted, let's see. Once that application is submitted, you will then be able to track its progress on underneath your applications tab on the website. You do not have to submit the application once you open the application. I failed to mention that. Once you start an application, it will be sitting under our pending applications tab. And you may always go back and complete that application at a later date. But once it's submitted, it will be listed under your submitted applications. And as you go through these applications, you can see, the status will be right here in the right-hand column. So once it's submitted, it'll just say submitted. Once staff begins review, the status will be changed to under review. Once the board approves the application, it'll say board approval, board approved, awaiting contract, and so on. The status will be your method of keeping up to with where your property is. At any time, if you have any questions, again, you can always go to our website to our Contact Us page and submit any inquiries. But we ask that you always include your application number and address and name that you applied under so that we can best serve you. So I'm going to switch back over. So for our quiet title process, once you submit your application, staff will review your application. The application must sit in the queue for 30 days. This will allow someone else that may be interested to apply. And once that period runs, the application goes before the board for approval. Once the board approves the application, the land bank requests the tax deed from the State of Alabama Department of Revenue. Once we receive it, we process the deed and have it recorded and assessed at Jefferson County. Staff will then reach out to you and engage you with contract documents. Following the contract documents, we will then begin the inspection period. After your inspection period, or if you choose to waive your inspection period, you can come in and you'll pay the $5,000 earnest money. That money is held to pay for the quiet title action. And so once we receive that money, we assign the case out to an attorney, and that attorney then files a quiet title action. The court schedules a hearing for the property, and once that hearing is over and the court extinguishes liens and assessments and vests full ownership in the Land Bank Authority, we now have the ability to close on the sale of the property, and the closing attorney will reach out to the applicant, pay closing costs, execute all documents, and we will convey the property with full fee simple ownership to the end user. This process isn't over at that point. From that point, it's on the applicant purchaser to begin their project, to start working on their project, obtain all permits, and go on. Our contractual agreement will outline the processes for checking in with our compliance staff member. And so, we will have to do routine check-ins with our compliance staff member. And that'll just be, providing simple updates on, permits pulled, pictures, and just an update to make sure that you are staying in line with what your contract stated. For our immediate acquisition application process, it's similar. The application is submitted, staff reviews. Once the board approves the contract, the applicant has an inspection period, along with the contract. And once the applicant decides they want to go through with the sale, we schedule a closing and they pay the amount of money plus closing costs, and again, commence their project. So as I mentioned before, you can always log back in to check the status of your application. You'll go to the My Applications tab, look at submitted applications or pending applications. And at that point, that is it. Again, if you have any additional questions, you can always just check out our website and go to our Contact Us page to make inquiry. And at that point, I'm going to check with additional questions we need to address and get right back to you. Thank you. Okay, well, we don't have any questions right now, but feel free to always reach out to us on our website, birminghamlandbank.org, on our Contact Us page. A member from our staff will get back with you within 24 hours during the week to address your questions on the application process, eligible properties, or any aspect of the land bank programming. We look forward to receiving your applications. We look forward to seeing what you do with the properties that you're interested in. We look forward to you turning problem properties, into productive properties in the city of Birmingham. So again, we thank you if you're watching this. Thank you for taking 40 minutes of your time to spend with us. And please just check out our website and continue to stay engaged with us as we present these webinars each week. Thank you.